All right. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of robotics.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people want to learn about this, and we're using these listener notes titled Pasted Text.
Okay.
So think of this deep dive as like your crash course. Like we're getting you up to speed on robotics.
I like it.
And hopefully by the end of this, we can spark some ideas, get you thinking about the future, all that good stuff.
Bit of me.
Perfect. So before we jump into the really complex stuff, I guess like just starting out, how would you define what robotics is? Like if someone's never heard of it before.
Right. Well, when I think about robotics, I think about it's designing and applying robots for tasks. It's not just about building them.
Right.
It's about making them do something useful.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's applying them to something, not just building something cool in your garage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, when they think of robotics, they think about, like the big factory robots, like the ones welding cars together.
Yeah. The classic image.
Yeah. Classic image. Right. But it's so much more than that now.
Oh, for sure. It's grown so much.
Yeah. It's like you got, robots that are like assisting doctors in surgery. You got robots exploring the ocean.
Exploring space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the possibilities are kind of endless. Now it's not all sunshine and roses though, right? Like a lot of discussion around robots and jobs.
Oh yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah. And like in the listeners' notes, they specifically mentioned Amazon. Like they're curious about how that whole thing works.
Well, with Amazon, like so many places, robots help with efficiency.
Oh, for sure.
Like in their warehouses, you have robots that are doing all sorts of tasks that people used to do.
Right.
They're, sorting packages, they're moving shelves.
So it's like if I order something on Amazon, there's a good chance a robot is touching it at some point.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
Wow. And it's like, yeah, on the one hand, it makes things so much faster, right? Like I get my stuff in 2 days. But on the other hand, it's like, what happens to the people whose jobs, get done by the robots?
Right. It's a trade-off for sure.
Yeah.
Like on one hand, some jobs might be lost, but then you have new jobs created to maintain the robots, to program them.
Yeah.
It's kind of this shift in what the workforce looks like.
So it's less about robots taking jobs and more about robots changing jobs.
Exactly. It's not like everyone's suddenly out of work, but the types of work are changing.
And it's happening so fast too, right? Like it feels like every day there's a new article about some robot doing something crazy.
Oh, absolutely. The field is moving so quickly.
It's crazy. So like looking forward then, what are you most excited about when it comes to robots? Like what's on the horizon that you're like, man, I can't wait for this to happen?
Well, for me, it's got to be AI and machine learning. That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah. Like how are robots going to learn? How are they going to think? That kind of thing.
Exactly. Like imagine robots that can adapt to new situations, that can learn from their mistakes, that can actually solve problems on their own. It's like that's the next level.
Wow. Yeah. Like the robots are going to start teaching themselves. That's kind of scary, but also super exciting.
It is, right. It raises a lot of questions, but it's a future with a lot of potential too.
So it's not just about building robots anymore. It's about building robots that can think.
Precisely.
That's a good way to put it. So like to wrap things up, we've covered a lot. We talked about what robotics is. We talked about, the different types of robots, what they can do. And I think the big question is, how do we use all this responsibly?
Yeah, for sure. That's the big ethical question, right?
Yeah. How
do we make sure that this technology is benefiting everyone?
Yeah. How do we make sure it's used for good? So I guess that's something for everyone listening to think about. As robots become more and more a part of our lives.
And it will happen. It's not a question of if, but when.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for joining us for this robotics deep dive. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. And hopefully you'll keep exploring this topic. It's fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. It's a really exciting time to be following robotics.
It really is. Until next time, everybody.
See ya.